welcome back to Brothers Talk, and this is another episode of F1 Talk where we speak about everything F1 related, and especially the Chinese Grand Prix. Now, it's been a sprint weekend and it's been an exciting one, but let's talk about Kimi Antonelli first of all. Congratulations. In the main qualifying, he secured his first pole position in F1, and he followed it up with an incredible race, really. Didn't really put a foot wrong whatsoever for such a young driver. He looked composed and sort of calm in the lead, and when he was being chased by the Ferraris and Russell, his teammate, who's obviously, we know how quick he is as well, he just looked fantastic, and he was stretching his lead at the end and everything. So congratulations to him. Sorry for any spoilers who haven't seen the race yet. I'm sure you would have done. It's been a day or so now. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. Congratulations, Kimi. I don't know if anyone's seen the podium after, but he was announced as Kimi Räikkönen. You had Russell and Hamilton laughing their head off on the podium with him. It was quite funny, but a shame actually, really, because obviously it's his first time on the top step. But congratulations. Now let's talk a little bit about the racing. Now, actually, let's really start with the qualifying, because for me, the qualifying doesn't feel as exciting as it used to be. I mean, me as a sort of, I suppose, a long time F1 fan and lover of the sport, watched it through the sort of the 90s and so on. And for me now, it doesn't look like in qualifying that the drivers are giving it everything. Obviously, as we know, they're sort of almost lifting and coasting and downshifting at the end of straights and sort of cruising into corners and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't really feel as exciting, like they're actually on the edge. I think the cars look fun to drive. They look quite nimble, a bit smaller, a bit lighter. They do look a little bit twitchy, which is nice. But I just don't feel like the drivers are fully on the edge. I mean, they may well be, obviously, but it doesn't quite look that way. It doesn't look like they're sort of wringing the necks of the cars like the days gone by. That's qualifying. Now, I think in the races, obviously the sprint race, I mean, over the last year or so, the sprints, although I like the format and I'm intrigued by the jeopardy it causes and the less practice and everything like that, I feel the sprint did look exciting. Obviously, we had a lot of overtaking, particularly in the early stages. It's just one of them things where everyone's bunched up together and people are using the boost and the overtake and everything at different times. So it is causing a bit of chaos. And I think for the I suppose the average fan who tunes in just to shut the race on and see what's happening and isn't sort of bothered about the battery, getting to understand all that side of it, is just seeing exciting racing. They're seeing sort of overtakes multiple times a lap and everything. So fair play. And I think similar to the race as well, we've seen a lot of overtakes, and it looks exciting. I think the onboards really do frustrate me. With the onboards, you're not seeing them chucked into a corner. You're hearing the engines, the downshifting and the revs drop off. And I know they've changed the graphic on the Halo now, what you see, where you don't always see the speedo. You're seeing like the position on the track and everything, which they haven't really done before. So they're changing it so you aren't seeing them drop from 320 to 270 kilometres an hour on a straight. So I think they're changing a few things for the neutral fans, really. Sorry, for the average fans, just so they aren't seeing that, they aren't understanding it. So that's my sort of take on it. It looks exciting. It does sort of feel exciting at times when you're seeing less overtaking, but for me, like I say, it's a long time F1 fan, it feels fake for me. There was one point where Russell passed Hamilton. I think he come off the last corner, if I remember correctly, and he literally blew past him within 200 yards because he used the boost button and Hamilton had no battery left. It was insane. It feels like it's a bit more fake than what DRS is. At least with DRS, it was causing late lunges into the corner where you had to outbrake the person next to you in some cases. It doesn't feel like that's going to happen here. It feels like mid-straight you can just get blown by somebody using the boost and the overtake when you've got no battery left. And then on the next straight, they've used the boost and the overtake, and then you've gained it and you get them back. So it's just who can manage the battery better, which it doesn't feel like it's the right thing when it's a 50-50 distribution of battery and combustion. It feels like it should be maybe a 70-30 or a 80-20 for combustion, and then maybe have a boost for overtake that way. So instead of having the DRS, you've got your active aero, and also you've got the boost and the overtake, which gives you that extra 20 or 30% maybe. So you haven't got overtake someone on the straight, you are sort of catching them up at the end of the straight where you can have a lunge into the corner and outbrake your opposition. And that's kind of what Formula One was. So that's sort of where I'd like to see it go, because I think the racing is exciting. We do want to see more overtaking, and it will bring more average fans to the sport when they're seeing, wow, we've had 100 plus overtakes in a race where last year we only had 40 or 50 or whatever it might be, like Australia. So that's sort of where I'm at with that. So that's my sort of initial thoughts. I did say I was going to wait, I suppose, a few races for that, but I think with having Australia, the sprint, and the main race in China as well, I think obviously seeing it 3 times and seeing sort of 3 sets of qualifying now, I think my mind is a little bit made up in the early stages of the season. I think a lot probably will change, because obviously we're going to have the break, because of obviously we've had a couple of races cancelled now, so there's going to be a little bit of a break there, so teams are going to be able to test and develop a little bit more over that period. And I think obviously there's talk of potentially changing some sort of regulations in the summer break, whether that goes to a 60-40, I've seen rumours. So we might see things change throughout the season, I'm sure we will. And as we know, with a new regulation season, the development curve is huge. We do see teams really come on where the pack really bunches up, which obviously there's massive gaps at the moment. So you've got the first sort of, probably the top 2 teams who streak away, McLaren having a bit of a nightmare, Red Bull again having a bit of a nightmare. So there's sort of gaps in the pack developing early on, and I think I can imagine that punching up, because we know some of them teams will develop rapidly and come on and get things right and tweak things here and there. So that will be exciting, and we'll see where things go. But let's talk a bit more about the race and the standings, and let's see where people finished. So the starting grid for the sprint race was Russell, Antonelli, Norris top 3, Hamilton, Piastri, Leclerc and Gasly and Verstappen making up the top 8. Now, after a blistering start from Ferrari yet again, Kimi had another disaster, really dropped right back once again. That's 2 starts in a row. It finished with Russell first, Leclerc second, Hamilton third. Really good battle between the top 3 drivers. Now moving on to the other points positions. We've got Lando with a good finish in 4th. Kimi battled back to get to 5th and was closing in on Lando at the end. Piastri 6th. Lawson, great race for him. And Ollie Behrman 8th, again picking up points there, so great result for those 2. And Max missing out on the points after another disastrous start. He just can't get to grips with this car, I don't think.
Now jumping over to the main race, and we touched on that already. Kimi started on pole. It was a front row lockout with Russell starting second for Mercedes, Hamilton third and Leclerc fourth, Piastri, Norris fifth and sixth, Gasly, Verstappen, Hadjar and Behrman top 10. Now, as we know, disaster struck at the beginning of the race for McLaren. Neither of them started due to a battery issue, both different kind of electronic issues but related to the same kind of thing. So they were out before the race even begun. So we also did not start for Bortoleto in the Audi and Albon in the Williams, and both Aston Martins didn't finish the race either. But this time it was a better start for Kimi, who just dropped back a place. Hamilton took the lead. Great battling from, I suppose, all the drivers really at the front end of the grid. But once Kimi got the lead, he looked composed. He just drove a really good race. Like I said, I mentioned earlier, a couple of little tiny mistakes, but it's to be expected. Still a young driver, still learning. And of course, near the end, he had Russell chasing him down, but he couldn't really get close enough to Kimi, who took home the victory. Russell second and Hamilton third. Hamilton got his first podium for Ferrari in the main race, so congratulations to him as well. It's a good top three. Leclerc fourth, just missing out and dropping off away from Hamilton at the end. Behrman fifth, picking up great points there for Haas. Gasly sixth. Lawson seventh. Hadjar eighth, highest Red Bull finisher. Sainz ninth, and Colapinto again picking up good points there, 10th for Alpine. Looks like Max had another nightmare in this. Start of the race, dropped to the back of the grid, could not get off the line, and just never really fully recovered. It's really struggling this new format, just like a few other drivers and teams in particular. But I'm sure throughout the season we will see these teams get better. Development curve will be huge, and drivers will get used to driving these cars, I'm sure of it. But there we go. They are my thoughts and opinions of the early season so far, and a quick review of the Chinese Grand Prix. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to drop a like if you're enjoying this kind of content, and subscribe to the channel. We've got plenty more car reviews and videos coming up, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope to see you in the next one. See ya.